Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Camagüey in Cuba. The Camagüey province, you can see here, it's pretty large. It takes up this whole chunk of Cuba. It is actually the flattest province in the island nation, and therefore is primarily used for livestock. But it has some interesting geographic features. It is relatively flat compared to the rest of the island, which is quite mountainy, along with its neighbor Hispaniola over there. But it has some really beautiful islands associated with it. Up here you can see these islands here, which are primarily known as the Gardens of the King. And then these little islands down here are known as the Gardens of the Queen. You can see Jardín de la Reina and the Jardines de la Reina National Park, which apparently was one of Fidel Castro's favorite fishing spots. But I only saw one source that said that, so cannot confirm. The area is pretty rural, except for the large city right here smack dab in the middle, Camagüey. We'll talk about why it's there in history. There is a big resort town on this island. I believe it's on Sabinal Key. But for the most part, it's all very small town farming communities and little coastal fishing areas, but nothing too major, right? I will talk about Nuevitas as well, right here. You can't really tell, but it's on like a little, almost a peninsula, like a little cape right there. We'll see it on Google Earth in a minute. Nuevitas is where the story begins. Of course, there were indigenous peoples living throughout the islands, mainly the Taino, I believe, and the Carib, of course, since the name Caribbean. But the Spanish established the city of Nuevitas in 1514 to be a big port area, shipping out, of course, to Spain and throughout the other islands of the Caribbean and Central America, and Mexico, and South America that belonged to the Spanish at that time. However, this made the town a huge target for pirates. The largest one, there were quite a few, but the largest one being in 1668 when it was targeted by Henry Morgan. And he pretty much destroyed the majority of the city, robbing it for all of the goods coming out of this area of the Americas. So they had a plan. Number one was to move the city inland, directly in the middle of the island, so that pirates couldn't sail in and attack anymore. They renamed it to Camagüey, which was an indigenous name for this village here, and they rebuilt the old town. Because back then, and in a lot of places now, but back then, the city was built in a grid pattern, right? So everything was in squares. They decided to rebuild the city as kind of a maze, where there's sort of a grid, but there's no straight lines. It's all very wavy and intersects at a lot of places, so that if anyone tried to attack, they would get lost and meander throughout the city trying to find their way to the middle and be apprehended in the meantime. Although I also read that that was an urban legend and that the roads are built like that because every part of the city wanted to be near to a church, and apparently the only way to do that was to make the roads wobbly, but I like the original explanation better. And today, the old town of Camagüey is a UNESCO World Heritage Site because of this really distinct architecture and city layout. So let's read that. The Historic Center of Camagüey. One of the first 7 villages founded by the Spaniards in Cuba, Camagüey played a prominent role as the urban center of an island territory dedicated to cattle breeding and the sugar industry. Settled in its current location in 1528, the town developed on the basis of an irregular urban pattern that contains a system of large and minor squares, serpentine streets, alleys, and irregular urban blocks, highly exceptional for Latin American colonial towns located in Plains territories. The 54-hectare historic center of Camagüey constitutes an exceptional example of a traditional urban settlement relatively isolated from main trade routes. The Spanish colonizers followed medieval European influences in terms of urban layout and traditional construction techniques brought to the Americas by their masons and construction masters. The property reflects the influence of numerous styles throughout the ages: neoclassical, eclectic, Art Deco, neo-colonial, as well as some Art Nouveau and Rationalism. So let's look at some pictures here. It's a lot better to see it on Google Earth because you can really see all of the wavy roads and such, but we can see a lot of historical colonial buildings, mainly churches from here. Some Art Deco there by the looks of it. Some very traditional architecture there. That's really pretty. Very Spanish style there. Big beautiful doors. Oh, that's really pretty. The old church there. The more modern church there. Bright beautiful buildings and more neoclassical there. Pretty interesting, but yeah. We will look at Google Earth in a second because let me tell you, I didn't find much else history happening here. Any other history pertaining to this area would also follow the history of Cuba, with revolutions against Spain throughout the end of the 1800s, but culminating in the Americans taking over after the Spanish-American War and pushback against American occupation until independence, which collapsed under the revolution of Fidel Castro and the rise of communism in Cuba, Soviet alignment during the Cold War, Bay of Pigs incident, the Cuban Missile Crisis, Cuban blockades, immigration up to the U.S., which you can see Florida is just right there, the United States, so on and so forth. Nothing that really pertains to this area here, which from what I can tell is just mostly little small towns and things, other than the city and the big resort area there near the Bahamas. I think they're trying to be a little Bahamas type area, I guess. I don't know. But I'll show you on Google Earth. So that pretty much is the history, geography of Camagüey. So let's hop over to my tablet and check this area out on Google Earth. Here we are in Camagüey province. And let's start by zooming out so you can see exactly where we are in the world. Here's Cuba, the largest island in the Caribbean, part of the Greater Antilles, which includes Jamaica, Hispaniola, which includes Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico there. We have the Bahamas up here, so bright blue, beautiful. The United States, in terms of Florida, is just up there. The Yucatan, which we're actually going to Campeche next week, is just over here. Right here in the beautiful Caribbean Sea. So let's see what we can find. Let's obviously start in the town, Camagüey. And here is the old town. So we can compare and contrast, right? Here's the newer part, which you can see very much a grid, right? Big old blocks, perfect little squares, everything all in its little tidy place. But then we go downtown here, downtown to the old town, and we can see all of these wiggly, wobbly, zigzaggy lines. So there's still squares, I guess rectangles in a sense, right? Because nothing is quite perfectly square shaped. I was playing a game where I was like, okay, I'm gonna get to this hotel. Okay, let's tap that hotel. Let's go to, it's a hostel. Let's go to this hostel starting here. And we're gonna make our way there. Okay, here we go. Here we go. We go this way and up and uh-oh. This is a road. It's just shadowy. Let's go down here. See, this is fun. I enjoy doing things like this. Okay. We're over here now. Let's go up here. Let's go this way. Okay, I give up. Let's see where we ended up. Oh my goodness. We were here so far. So yeah, that is the point of this area. Let's take a look at this beautiful central park here. Ignacio Agramonte, I forgot to mention him. He was a hero during the Spanish Revolution, a revolution against the Spanish. He was from this town, obviously. I think the people here are called Agromonteños because he's such a, wow, that's a beautiful church. A big part of the identity of the town here. There's Che. It's goodness, I'm rushing up to this guy. He's having a bad time. A big beautiful city there from above, and some less glamorous parts. Classic Cuban cars, because after the Revolution, the United States banned imports and exports of cars to Cuba. They blockaded. So all of the cars that are in Cuba are from that time period. Not all the cars. They can get cars from other places, but most of the cars are from the 1950s, 1960s. So lots of cool classic cars there. But yeah, that's this fun area here. You should try it yourself. Find a spot, try to get there without peeking anywhere and see if you can make it. I've done it like 3 or 4 times and I've never got to my destination. It's pretty cool. But yeah, this is a great town. Let's look at this park. Really wants us to look at this park. Look at the beautiful architecture here. Beautiful windows and colors. Ooh, that place is all overgrown and spooky. I wonder what's up with that place. There's another classic car. Monuments here. See, there's a more modern car. That's not a classic Cuban car. But still, you can get cars from other places in Cuba. It's just you can't get any American cars here because it's still blocked off. You might as well just get a horse-drawn cart. Yeah, look at this neoclassical style building. Big old columns there. And yeah, interesting. I never really thought about all the different styles of architecture until I read the UNESCO thing. There is a big old mishmash here, kind of growing on top of each other. Here's Nuevitas, what was once the main city of the area. Here we can see the old pueblo here. Or at least a few images of it. Looks all overgrown today. Old image there, I guess, of an old fishing village. Little scary cave. Some kind of marker there. I bet you this was where the old pueblo was, but it got destroyed by pirates. I wonder. That's all that's left of it. But yeah, here's the main. It's the area. So it's still, you know, a little port, but not like it once was. Oh, the museum does not offer us much, just an exterior shot. Nice paint job though, bright blue and white. See the Malecón down here, little seaside. Oh wow, It's in a bit of disrepair. Some abandoned looking places. Ooh, it's kind of eerie at night. And the ocean's alright, but then you go like in the dead of night. Has anyone ever done that? I've done that a couple times. It can be kind of eerie being at the ocean at night. Especially if there's no lights anywhere. Alright, let me show you this town over here. You can see there's some aquaculture happening here. But there's big old resorts. Let's find some. Let's see over here. Big resort area, big beautiful beach. Yeah, big hotels. All capitalizing on this gorgeous coastline on this island. But look at all the aquaculture happening over here. I guess salt? By the looks of it, maybe some fish, maybe some shrimp or something. But yeah, big old resort town here. I wonder if I can just Playa Santa Lucia, that's what it's called. Just see the main slideshow. We can see the beautiful white sand beaches. That's what people come here for. Gorgeous beach time, big palm trees, nice breeze, wild pigs, lots of them. Yeah. Oh my gosh, classic Caribbean style, huh? Perfect relaxation. Beach chairs and sand and surf and waves. Gorgeous. Perfect area for a little resort. But the rest of these islands, as you can see, are a bunch of marshy areas. Very mangrovey, very swampy. Big, rugged, corally coastlines. Not much there. There's a town called Versailles. I wonder if it's pronounced that way. I bet you it's pronounced Versailles or something. But yeah, those are the gardens of the kings. And then down here are the gardens of the queen. But I don't think I found like any good slideshows because it just seems like they're all natural places and they're also quite swampy. And yeah, it's not like you're going backpacking or anything. They are swampy, low islands. I suppose good for fishing. Let's see. Jardines de la Reina. Oh my goodness. There's a little friend? What is that? No, but seriously, someone tell me. Some kind of muskrat creature. Some cool diving with the sharks. Oh, that's my dream. I love sharks. Sea turtles. You can scuba with the sea turtles. Look at the sharks. I think sharks are so cool. This big old eel friend looks so grumpy. They brought their flags. They're from Uruguay. What is that? Cuba's so interesting. It's got some cool wildlife that you can't find anywhere else. Look at this big fishy friend. He looks very old and grumpy. Oh, some iguanas on the beach. Classic. Have beautiful water. There's a croc. Probably an alligator. I don't know. Saltwater crocodile? I don't know. Some cool little coral friends. Very neat. Okay, so there is a nice slideshow here. Did not pop up when I was researching. I'm glad it did now. I was also trying to look in this town, but I couldn't find any slideshows. It looks very small. There's a Playa Bonita. Let's take a look. Any pictures of Playa Bonita? There's a couple. Not much. Cool little horse-drawn carriage. What are they pulling? Sacks of something there. But yeah. It just seems like a little quiet seaside town here. Monumento de la Mano. Mano. I don't know mano. Is that a person? It's not manos. Or mano. Mano means hand, right? I don't know. But yeah, that was pretty much all the pictures that I had found. As you can see, all the rest is quite foresty, or it's farmy, right? Historic park here. Let's see. It looks like a literal park. I wonder if there's some battle here or something. I bet you. Potreros de Camagüey. There's little fincas around, which are, I'll show you. Where'd that finca go? There's Finca La Liliana, which is basically like a farm. Oh, there's no pictures here, but it's a little farm that you can stay on and work on. Here's another one. Agroturistica. So you can enjoy the natural landscape. They got bees. And, get fed, get a roof, get a bed. Basically like a bed and breakfast, but on a working farm where you can also be employed. Look, can you stay in there? That's so cool. A little hut, a little grass hut. This looks like a fun place. Looks like some yummy food too. Look at these kebabs. That sounds really good. Chopping up some coconuts. Horseback riding. And picking fruit off the trees there. So nice. But that's pretty much all that I found here. If anyone is watching this that knows a bit more, if you're Cuban or you've been to this area of Cuba, yes, there's not a lot of pictures here. Drop a comment down below if any other interesting facts that I just didn't find, because pretty much all that I found was about the old town and about the tourist industry. Come and see the beautiful nature. I can only talk about that for so long until you get tired of it. Pueblo Nuevo. Oh, pretty. Let's end it here. Look at this beautiful slideshow. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the style of content, please consider subscribing. So next we're going to England. So you're never going to want to miss England, right? Yeah, be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. Like this little Perry here is very excited. Next week is a big week, which is unfortunate because I'm going on vacation, so I have to pre-film a bunch of big videos. We're doing England, Italy, and Mexico next week. Goodness, so now's the time to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments. I hope that you found this video to be relaxing and educational, and I hope that you have a good